Are you tired of dragging hoses? You ever looked at the side of your house and thought, man, I could really use a hose bib right there? Well, say no more. I'm going to show you how to do that. Stay tuned. Okay guys, first thing we want to do is mark our spot for where we want our hose bib at. And I highly recommend putting it in a spot that's in between a mortar joint and not in the brick. That way we don't damage the brick when we drill our hole. So let's do that now. Let's mark our spot. Alright, so now once you got your spot marked, you're going to need to take your hammer drill and a 3/4 masonry bit for block or brick, or you can use a regular hand drill with a 3/4 spade bit. But since this is block, we're going to use our masonry bit. So let's go ahead and drill a hole now. Alright guys, you may have noticed that I rounded it a little bit, but there's a reason for that, because if you use a 1-inch bit, it's just too big and too sloppy, but when you use a 3/4 bit, it's just perfect for the pipe, but not for the ring we're about to clamp to it. So I just auged it out just a little bit, just for the ring to sit snug in there. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp the pecs on now. Alright, now once we got our hose bib crimped, make sure it's in the off position. We're going to go ahead and put our pipe through the hole. Alright, and I know it looks good right this second, but don't mount it yet. Let's hook it up underneath first, then we'll mount it last. Okay guys, so now that we got our hose bib in place where we want it at, and we got it stuck through the hole, already attached to the pecs, as you can see right here. So it's already hooked up right there, and why I made the hole just a little bit bigger, that way we can get that ring in there. Alright, now it's time to go cut the water off and go underneath. Alright guys, so the next thing I want you to do before you do anything else is, if you have an electric water heater, this is for people with electric water heaters only, you're going to need to shut off your switch inside the breaker box. So let's go ahead and do that now. Remember, if you've got natural gas, you do not have to turn off any switches in your home. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and locate our water heater right here, and we're going to shut that off. Alright, so now that we've located our water meter, we can go ahead and turn it off. Now, if you have the old style meter, which is the one on the right, then you're going to need a key just like this. And you can pick these up at the hardware store, or your local plumber will have one to shut your water off for you. But what you want to do is you're going to want to open your lid up and watch for black widows, spiders, whatever it may be. And if you look down in the hole, you'll see here's your water meter. Alright. Look right here. Let's uncover this. That's your knob that you want to turn. You want to make sure that's turned all the way to the right. If you turn it all the way to the right, it's shut. If you turn it all the way to the left, it's open. But I don't need this key. Let's go ahead and put this back. Because I actually installed a shut-off valve right after my water meter. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I do that. And if you look down in here, you'll see a shutoff valve right here. Alright, and I got that in the off position. Remember the handle, if it's towards the flow of water, down, it's on. If it's the opposite, looks like a T kinda, it's off. Alright, so right now the water is off. Alright guys, so after you make sure you got your water shut off at the street or with a shut off valve to your house, and your breakers off to your water heater if you have electric, a good tip is to go ahead and take a hose bib that's pre-existing on the home and go ahead and open it up and relieve the pressure onto the house. That way you don't have as much water come out when you go to do your tie-in on your water lines. Alright, so now it's time to go under the house to do the tie-in. Let's go. So, work my way to that side of the house. Okay, y'all, so now that you've crawled under your crawl space and you've located where you came in at, you need to find one of your cold lines and tie into it. And I happen to just know exactly where I was putting mine, so I'm going to actually tap in right here. As I can tell, that's my two toilets, my two bathrooms that's side by side. And that's the toilet supply line right there. So we're going to go ahead and cut that copper and tie into that right now. And I'm going to show you how. Okay, this is your shark bite tee, and because this house is all 1/2 inch lines, we're going to tie in from 1/2 inch copper this way, 1/2 inch copper this way, and then right here we're going to tie in our PEX hose bib line. Alright, so in order to cut the copper, you're going to need a good pair of 1/2 inch copper cutters. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut the copper. Alright, so you're going to let that drain down till you drain it down, and if you open your hose bib, you shouldn't have much more than what's coming out now. So what you want to do is after you make your first cut mark though, I'm not waiting on this water to drain. After you make your first cut mark, go ahead and stick your tee up to it. Stick it to about where it's going to meet the middle, and mark your finger. You see that little space right there? That's where a lot of people get mixed up when they're working with copper, because you can't, it's hard to move copper. Like I'm pulling it to the left right now and it won't budge. So I'm going to knock that little piece out right there on the money. That way I can get my tee on perfect. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Alright, see that nice little space? Now we got some room to put our tee on. So let's go ahead and pop our tee on. Okay, so right here I'm basically going to show you what I did underneath with joining the copper and PEX together with the shark bite tee. I tied in one end of my tee to the copper, and I tied my other end of the tee into the existing copper. And then I came in with my PEX stub out right here, and I come up and tied right into this tee. So now I went from PEX to copper. So if you ever wondered how you transition from copper to PEX or to CPVC or etc., these are good fittings to use for that if you don't know all your fittings. Okay, so remember in the middle of the video I told you not to mount it yet. Well, there was a reason why. That way, in case there's any problems along the lines, you had any leaks or anything, just any issues. So now that everything's tied in, hooked up, you've checked yourself for leaks, you've turned your water back on, don't forget to turn your water heater breaker on. Now, once you level it up, once you take a marker, the mark 2 spots, now watch the secret. Now you're going to want to take a 1/4-inch masonry bit. Let's see if you can see that. Enjoy your hole. So now you're going to want to use your anchoring kit once you've got your holes drilled out. And they're easy to put in. You just put them in like so. Alright, now you can line it up. Switch over to your Phillips bit for your screw. Now, once both of them are mounted, you are ready to enjoy your hose bib.